Hello, my friends. How are you today? Did anyone do anything fun this weekend? Drop it in the chat. Let me know. Hi, Suzanne. Hi, Madhu. Hi, Carrie. Hi, Kelsey. Hello, everyone joining in. Welcome. Welcome to Self-Care Society. Welcome to Winning the Week. My name is Danica Bryce. I'll be your guide for today's session. I don't think I've said that yet. And I've got a great class plan for y'all today. Hi, Kim. Good to see you. Hello, my friends. Okay. Madhu said this weekend she was reorganizing, cleaning, and decluttering. Not the most exciting thing. I think it's very exciting. I always feel so good when I make the time to do that. So cheers to you. All the Easter joy with my baby boy. Amazing, Amy. Yes, happy Easter for all those who celebrated. We are celebrating on Wednesday because when your partner is a private chef, he tends to work all of the holidays. It's well worth it, at least in his job. His boss is very generous. But however, we are going to do it on Wednesday. So don't tell my children the bunny has not come yet. Okay. So all that being said, we've got a great class planned. Gretchen says, had my family over for dinner and game playing. How fun. Beautiful. Love it. Okay, so our class today is called Life Outside Your Comfort Zone. And this was actually inspired by me. This was the class that I needed. So I'm hoping it's beneficial to you too. I find that it usually is. Because as I said, I am going out of town on Thursday, from Thursday to Sunday. So 4 days, 3 nights for one of my best friends, or my best friend from high school's bachelorette party in Montana. And I've never left my children for anywhere near that time, especially my little one who is still very like comfort nursing frequently. So I've been very anxious about it for months. And instead of dwelling in all that could go wrong and all that, whatever, without mom here, I'm trying to flip that lens, right? And to say that by stepping out of my comfort zone, there are all these amazing things that could happen, right? There's so many, and I'll get into kind of examples of this in the class today, but it reminded me that I just wanted to do a class kind of focused on pushing ourselves to these limits, doing these things that maybe feel a little bit scary to us, but we never know the possibility of expansion that might come if we just push a little past what feels comfortable, right? And Kate Northrup has been talking about this too, and I did her workshop and all that, and just this idea that like our nervous system doesn't want to change, right? Like we don't want stress, we don't want, and so we tend to stay the same, right? And come back to all these patterns that keep us exactly where we are instead of change. And a lot of times, and like I think all of us can probably resonate with this, like oftentimes when we try something new or we push outside our comfort zone or we take a risk, that's the greatest expansion happens. Okay, so that's what this class is all about: life outside your comfort zone. And it's going to be a good one. So we'll start with a quote from Brené Brown that I thought was very appropriate for what we're doing today. And she says, you can choose courage or you can choose comfort. You cannot have both. A little bit of tough love. You can choose courage or you can choose comfort. You cannot have both. And I know that we are all courageous. And that doesn't mean that we can't move with courage in a graceful way or a self-loving way, but it's not always going to be comfortable because it's unknown, right? Susan says, oof. Yeah. All right. So our first exercise is a reflection exercise called I want to, but. Okay. I want to, but. So I'll paste it in the chat. So you're going to use the prompt. I've always wanted to blank, but blank, to reflect on some of the desires you've had in your life and why you might not have pursued them. Okay. So for example, I've always wanted to live abroad in another country, but I tend to tell myself there will be a better time or we'll do it when my kids get older. I've always wanted to spend more time in the garden, but I find myself waiting for free time to come along instead of making it a priority. Or I've always wanted to start building more things, but I assume it's too expensive or that I don't have time or the right knowledge or the right tools. Okay. So just some simple examples here in my life of where this has shown up. And I want you to think about it for yourself. Okay. So we'll have 3 minutes and these can be little things, big things, whatever it is. And just kind of get curious about what's the dialogue and why you haven't maybe taken action in that direction. Okay. 3 minutes. one more minute. You're in the chat. Feel comfortable. Or even if you don't feel comfortable. What have you always wanted to do? Okay. There we go. All right. So can you all hear me? Let's see. My computer's kind of frozen for a second. Stand by. I don't know. Maybe you can hear me, but I can't see myself. So I'm going to give it a second. Okay, perfect. I think there we go. Sorry if I froze there for a second. Okay, Kim says, I've always wanted to go on a road trip alone, but I tell myself that my family will feel neglected if I make plans without them. Ooh, so good. Okay. Kelsey, I have always wanted to be a painter, but I feel like the inner voice is telling me you're doing too much. Suzanne, I've always wanted to own my own business and be my own boss, but I'm scared that I won't be able to support our family financially and feel safe. Totally valid. D, these are all totally valid. D says, I've always wanted to pick a sport as a hobby to do, but always tell myself I'm not athletic enough. Ooh, yeah. Annie, I've always wanted to get better at playing the piano and guitar, but think I don't have the time, or commitment to learn how to read music. Kelsey, I've always wanted to do an amateur comedy stand-up, but I have zero experience. Madhu, I've always wanted to live in Europe where there are lots of cobblestones, but I tend to tell myself that my time or finances have come in the way. That my priorities keep changing for me due to external reasons. I have not been altruistic, but resentful of my choices. Sarah, I've always wanted to have a booth at a craft or art fair, but I tell myself I'm not skilled enough or have creative ideas. Carrie, I've always wanted to have a healthier and more vibrant body and mind, but unreconciled issues around food and my self-worth often sabotage my efforts. Y'all, these are beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing so openly. So we're going to move into our week ahead of us, okay? And this exercise is called One Brave Move. All right, so you're going to think of one brave thing that you can do this week, then write about all the possibilities for how this move could go right and what ways you might learn or experience or grow from taking this bold move. Okay, so my example, as I sort of shared already, is this week I am flying to Montana for my best friend's bachelorette party, leaving my 1 and 3-year-olds for the first time for more than 24 hours. My partner and his mom and my mom will all be here, so they are in great hands. I have been worrying about how they will do without me there, especially my nursing 15-month-old, but I'm trying to focus on all that could go right. I could have my eyes opened about the importance of nurturing my friend self or my independent solo self. I could deeply relax and feel really re-energized in new ways. I could feel immense gratitude for my family and miss them. There's all these things that might happen as a result of me making a change, right? And stepping out of my day-to-day and stepping out of my comfort zone. Okay. So you're going to pick one thing that you could do this week or just in general and honor it. And then just think about what could go right. All right. So 3 minutes here. Start wrapping up. You want to share what that brave thing is, or whatever you came up with, I'd love to hear it. Okay. So what came up for this exercise? What's the one brave thing? What did you maybe gain clarity on that could go right? Carrie just said, I just spent a week remote working with my 2 high school BFFs, and it filled my cup so much. Your family will be fine and appreciate you even more when you return. Carrie, I think you said that to Kim, but I'm hearing that for my circumstances as well. So thank you. I needed it. Madhu said the research PhD programs in Europe. How amazing. That sounds fantastic. What else? What's one brave thing? One brave thing that came up that you could invest some energy into this week. And if you want to share, you can share also what could go right. You know, and it's so like, you know, I said in the chat, I'm like, simultaneously, I'm so excited for this trip to Montana. I mean, like even as a mom with 2 little ones, like a plane ride with no distractions when you're not like taking care of kids is like a spa day, it feels like. So I'm very excited, but also, you know, there's all the feelings. Kelsey says, this week my partner comes home from a 5-week trip to Africa. These next few weeks are very important to me because it is finals week and a lot of projects and performances. I could schedule my time with him and work and really stick to my plan so I can enjoy my time with him, but set good boundaries. This will be good for our relationship that is still blooming. Love that. Beautiful, Kelsey. Beautiful. Okay, continue to share in the chat if you'd like. Always love reading these. I'll get our next exercise ready here. Our next exercise is a clarity exercise, and it's called an old story. An old story. Okay, so what's a limiting belief or inner narrative that's kept you in your comfort zone? Is there an old story you're telling about yourself? I want you to rewrite it. Feel free to do it for one example or multiple. Okay, so for example, I put two examples here. For a long time, I've believed that I'm bad with money. First, I don't think that's actually true. And second, I think I've come a long way. I'm ready to really feel really good with money, to feel really abundant, in flow, safe, and expansive. My second was I always feel overcommitted, and maybe I am, but I'd like to shift my perspective to celebrate this, to really embrace the big life that I have and all the opportunities I get to experience in life. Okay. So you can see this is just kind of like flipping, not even necessarily flipping the story, but just flipping how we feel about it. Right. Or flipping how we want to identify. Okay. So let's take a few minutes here to kind of rewrite an old story or old stories. About one more minute. One more minute. Share in the chat. Okay. Come on back. And if you're open to it, you can share in the chat. What is a limiting belief? Something that maybe a story you told yourself or something that's hard that you're ready to rewrite. Kelsey says, our family has always kept holidays super simple. We make a reservation. That is about it. I want to cook. I want the chaos of love and family. I want people to overstay their welcome and feel that they can come as they are, family, friends, anyone close. I want my daughter to relate this feeling to holidays, not getting dressed up and being polite and spending hundreds of dollars on a meal someone else made. Wow. Kelsey, so clear and so beautiful. My goodness, thank you for sharing that. It's like so specific, but I think something that many of us can resonate with, right? And I think I taught a class a while ago about like traditions, and I think about that a lot with little kids, of kind of the traditions and how you want them to feel and how you want them to experience things. So really beautiful. Thank you, Kelsey. Okay. Feel free to keep sharing. We'll move into our final exercise, which is a manifestation exercise called Life Vision Upleveled. And I don't think we can ever do enough visualizing, manifesting, because it's a beautiful way to connect our minds and our body, our minds and our nervous system, like to really move into positive change, right? And positive transformation or gratitude or whatever it is. So I want you to imagine yourself 1 year from now, confident, thriving, proud of the ways you've grown. What bold moves did you make to get there? What risks did you take that paid off? How does it feel? I want you to just describe this version of you and the comfort zones you left behind. Okay. So don't overthink it. Just free flow. If you want to answer some of the questions in the prompt, great. But it's really just thinking about yourself in the context of moving past some of your comfort zones and expanding. Okay. So my example, and you can, if it's helpful, you can think about the examples that the one brave move or the first exercise where you said, these are some of the things I've wanted to do, but haven't. And you can weave those into the story as if those things have now happened or you're working on them because you've stepped outside your comfort zone. Okay. So my example, life is so good. I can't believe the ways I've grown over the past year and how easy and spacious it has felt. Everything just flowed. I've never felt so abundant, so healthy, so spacious, and so full of possibility. I stopped waiting for better times to do things. I embraced fully that I have plenty of time and I lived that out. I spend so much time outside. We have chickens and more garden beds and the perfect plan for when we travel abroad and need someone to care for them. I let go of the things that were taking my energy but not serving me. I prioritized my health and happiness in new ways, and so on. Okay, so what's the story that you want to tell? What do you want to be true for you as you look back? And take a few minutes here and then we'll wrap up. Okay, come on back. and wrap that up. And I hope that this class helped you to think a little bit through how we might take little baby steps even towards things that scare us a little bit. And more than anything, that the possibilities that come when we do that, we step outside our comfort zone, or we take risks, or we push a little bit, can be really beneficial and really beautiful and really expand us. So I don't know what the quote is that I'm about to butcher, but it's something along the lines of like the thing that we most want is past the thing we least want to do, right? It's like these things that we're avoiding often are the keys to what we're seeking. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm so glad it was the class that I needed and just some reminders I needed for this week. So I'm glad it was valuable for y'all too. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, it is such a gift to guide you all. And I wish you an amazing, amazing week. And I'll see some of you in the monthly planning workshop. And yeah, always there to support you in the community. So if you do take action on your big move, your little risk or your big risk, let us know. All right. Okay, friends. Have an amazing week. Love you all. See you soon. Bye.